to the foxhole at Foxxo Esoterica. I promise I was sober when I wrote this. Welcome to a very special April Fool's Day episode of Foxxo Esoterica. One of two that'll be coming out this month. Yes, you heard me right. I'm going to now be moving to a bi-monthly schedule. However, with my machinations, I am not going to be doing the same thing twice a month. The first episode of the month will be what we're going to be doing tonight, and I'll get to that in a bit. But the second episode of the month will remain on the 25th as the drunk history-esque tellings of a paranormal story to somebody who doesn't know about them. The episodes that'll come first in the month will actually move to the 10th after this, but it's April Fool's, and I feel like I have to do something, well, you'll see what we're going to be doing today. But the premise of these episodes is actually going to be an informed discussion with a guest, a different guest of course, but it won't be a tell a story, get a reaction, but more of a discussion on the paranormal in general. We'll tell you what the premise of this episode is, but I'm going to be referring to this sort of episode as a new moon episode, and the other episode of the month as a full moon episode. It'll be fun, it'll be a lot of work, and I'm going to regret it. You know, you probably read the title of this episode before watching it, so the grandeur of it is going to be ruined a bit. Welcome to the top 10 hottest eligible cryptid bachelors, with special guest furry artist Icky Baku. Before we get in though, I'm going to be tackling a few housekeeping things. One is that I'm going to be retooling the encyclopedic collection bit to make more sense. Two is that I'm probably going to stop the intro song. Look at my timing, I'm great. But I'm going to be probably dropping the puns from the titles because it won't let you know what the episode's about, and the episode titles are very long. So that'll be one thing I'm retooling. However, let's get to the housekeeping and make it quick, because this episode is long, detailed, and fun. First things first, the encyclopedic collection will be as follows. The first category will be Irimabu Phantasma still, which is things pertaining to the magical supernatural, ghost, witches, demons, and other magical phenomena, with two subcategories. The first being the Folked Up collection, interesting folk stories of events or people that happened in the Renaissance ages or before that could be supernatural or poor history keeping. It could also extend beyond Renaissance in the case of the Mari Lute. I think that's post-Renaissance. The second category is the It Is Important to Remember That I Am White almanac. Stories about non-Eurocentric religions and cultures, and people or events related to these cultures, told in the lens where the mythology, in air quotes, is respected before diving into my own interpretations of the source material, because there are really wonderful stories out there, but it shouldn't be treated as just silly mythology, because some of these stories are religions that are still followed to this day. The next category is still going to be Futura Stella, the compilation. Things pertaining to science fiction, magical, or things pertaining to the science fiction magical, like aliens, time travelers, weird astronomical or meteorological phenomena, or other futuristic adjacent stories, with two subcategories. The started from the bottom of the pyramid, now we're here at the top of the pyramid, without the help of ancient aliens, collection. Stories and people regarding scientific wonders of the pre-Renaissance era, and stories usually told through the lens of ancient aliens aesthetics, but instead regarding ancient people as totally capable of making such discoveries or inventions, because they did. The second category is the Oh, It Was a Weather Balloon collection. Stories pertaining to too weird to be true astrological, geological, or meteorological phenomena that actually are proven to exist without any supernatural explanation. The third category is still on Stiffcocks and Titmice, an encyclopedia. True stories pertaining to the bizarre plants, animals, fungi, or etc. biological esoteric stories. Or, in a way that grammatically made sense. The next category is People Are Strange references. Stories pertaining to real-life, remarkable people whose lives are bizarre enough to warrant an episode, regardless of their supernatural affiliation, with one subcategory, the Witch is Back reference, biological stories pertaining to magical paranormal people, alchemists, witches, and things like that probably have supernatural affiliations. The next category is still going to be the I Promise I Won't Make a True Crime podcast collection, stories about true crime. The next category is Kunst ist Scheiße, stories pertaining to odd and esoteric moments in artistic or cultural history, which will typically exist as a second reference to a story, usually involving a folk story or a supernatural story if the story involves around the paranormal, without there being too many episodes about a single art project. And the last one, which is actually going to be what this episode is about, is the Forsey All By Himself Not a Collection. Stories that I don't have to do any research for because they come from me! Which is actually kind of a lie because I had to have a second guest on board to make this episode happen. But yeah, that'll be how the encyclopedia collection is managed from here on out, and the bit will make more sense. The last thing I wanted to get to before we start the episode is the Popobawa, a cryptid. Why am I getting into this right now? Well, last episode I mentioned the Tanganyika laughter epidemic as a sort of follow-up story to the laughter epidemic of 1518, and in it I claimed that there was no supernatural or esoteric thing surrounding it. It was mostly a scientific study. But that is where I lied to you, because also in Tanganyika/Tanzania, around that time, and I'm pretty sure the first sightings were in 1963, but kind of more of them were in 1965, is a one-eyed bat-like cryptid that causes paranoia in people and hallucinations and things like that when they see it. I'm not going to go into detail, and I'm also not going to give this guy a full episode because I don't think there's enough information about it for me to talk about him for more than an hour. But I wanted to bring him up because, look at it, it's a cryptid that makes people feel weird. And people laugh in a sort of panicky paranoia vibe when they feel weird. And also a lot of the sightings kind of happened around the time that Tanganyika got its independence from the British, which kind of plays into the MPI vibe of it, where it's like the mass psychogenic illness type thing, where a lot of people are having a lot of stress in their lives and are now seeing things in a more bizarre paranormal light. So it's interesting that we have a laughter epidemic and a cryptid sighting around the same time. And I wanted to bring it up because I didn't want people to think I didn't know what the Popobawa is. Look it up. I found all this information on Wikipedia. I did the bare minimum of research. Speaking of the bare minimum of research, let's get to the episode. And hello, welcome to Foxxo Esoterica's new non-story random episode. Here with special guest today, Icky. Say hello.
Hey. Hi, I'm Icky Baku.
Welcome to the... Welcome to the podcast. Usually I do like a lot of stuff at the beginning that's like, here's the premise of the episode. I'm telling this kind of story. Yeehaw. But this is... the premise of this episode is we're going to just be tackling the top 10 hottest cryptid eligible bachelors, and we're just going to do it off the cuff. So there's no introduction. We're just yeeting right into it. But before I start, is there anything you want to plug at all? Is there anything you want to tell us about yourself at all? How are you feeling?
Oh God, goodness gracious, I don't know. It's
4 questions.
Yeah, it is very nearly 10 p.m. for me here, which is basically my morning, because my sleep schedule is entirely inverted now that my fiance is working graveyard shift, and so I'm in this weird sort of limbo where I'm not entirely certain what I'm supposed to be feeling, if it's like the morning for me, or if it's starting to get to noon, or what. My life has this has really kind of revealed to me just how much of a concept time is.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, the whole of the pandemic has done that for me, because I don't think I know what month it is most of the time anymore. But like a graveyard shift sounds like that multiplied by like a number higher than 2.
Yeah, and like it doesn't help that like just ahead of Katie starting her new shifts and stuff, we were watching those Chubby Emu, who does the medical videos on, like, oh, this person ate fucking sushi out of a garbage can like an idiot and then they died. This is what happened. Like, we watched
this?
Yeah, okay, so
this is new to me, and I'm interested.
He's this toxicologist, and he makes these videos on like just medical phenomenon, usually just completely avoidable things because of people just being dumb. Well, he made this episode about this guy who had a heart attack because of daylight savings. We watched this on the day of daylight savings, not realizing yet that daylight savings had just begun that day. And also,
Oh.
he went into talking about how graveyard shift actually can be detrimental to your health as a human, because our circadian rhythm actually depends on the sunlight and stuff like that. And it supposedly, I think, if I'm not misquoting it, it like can actually take time off of your life. So it's like, okay, so let's get this schedule changed as soon as possible. But it's been going well so far.
I guess at this point, is that like, this isn't a long-term job then, I'm assuming?
It's at least...
Like long-term in terms of like, we're doing it 20 years later or something like that?
No, it wouldn't be something like that, I doubt. But,
yeah.
It's, as long as it takes to sustain us, until we find ourselves in a new spot, I suppose.
I feel it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done like I was telling you, I don't think I've ever done like a graveyard shift type thing before. I've only ever gotten up for stuff, but that's like entirely different because I'm still with the sun at that point, and when I'm awake, so that's like adaptable to that point. Graveyard shift sounds crazy to me.
It's bizarre because like I wake up now when the sun is going down, pretty much. Like we got up at around 7 p.m. and ran down to pick up a prescription all the way down in downtown because it was the only store that had the prescription. And it's just weird because it's like, it's nighttime. Like, my day is just starting, basically, and it's night. What?
Oh, yeah, it's 1 in the morning for me. There's a chance I'll be asleep in roughly 4 hours.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, it is. It would be 1 for you, huh? Yeah. That's the other bizarre thing, is like saying goodnight to my friends, and then it doesn't seem like that much time has passed, but then like it's been like 8 or 9 hours, and then they're like, good morning, and I'm like, good morning?
I have totally gotten used to that at this point because I am dating a German who's just like, I'm like, the whole like good morning or whatever, that I'm used to that at this point.
Yeah, that's fair, because Katie and I have also been looking into like shipping ourselves overseas as well. So this is just it's practice. We're running up to reset our clock, I guess.
I should probably do that at a point. Although it's probably not going to happen for a while, I don't think. Actually, like this I'm sorry to like cut you off, but I just like today got signed up for the vaccine, like straight up.
Oh yeah, Katie got her first shot just the other day.
Yay. Proud of her for that.
Yeah.
I know the appointment for mine is like straight up at the 6th of April, but one of my friends, because I'm in Michigan at this point in time, but I'm like incredibly close to the Ohio border, and one of my friends told me that I think Ohio's got like a program where you can just sign up and they've got the correct amount of funding that pretty much anybody can get it at this point, and I think it literally took me 5 minutes before me signing up for somebody to text me and be like, all right, here's your time, and I'm like, wow, it was really quick.
That's really wild. Honestly, that's like, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but like, go Ohio.
Yeah, this is the first time Ohio has impressed me. Just in general.
Oh my gosh.
If any listeners are in Ohio, this is a fun tidbit for you that will actually save your life. The first of this podcast.
I don't know. I used to live in Pittsburgh, so I was very close to Ohio, and went into Ohio every once in a while, and I was like, not great.
Oh, you were telling me that. My sister lived in Pittsburgh up until last year, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that's pretty much like
I remember
2 seconds away from Ohio.
Yeah. I remember you mentioning that once before, and yeah, but I don't know. I miss Pittsburgh sometimes. Anyway,
I miss it too.
Should probably get on with it.
I don't know, like probably. I don't know, like how many of the things you listen to, but it takes like 20 minutes to get started. I'm totally ready to get started right now.
I don't care
then. This is the loosest podcast of the whole world.
Solid then. That's All right. Loose is
Gosh,
pretty good then.
I don't even know like where to start right now. To be honest, like we're gonna tackle top 10 hottest cryptid bachelors, which is like obviously this is a furry podcast, so we're gonna be like, what's the hottest cryptid, putting them in order. And we got two people on this, so like obviously it's not gonna be like the opinions are 100% the same across the board, but I feel like this isn't something that somebody can tackle by themselves. And I also do believe it's really important for a lot of people to know this information in general. So
Important, yeah. That's fair in case ever. But well, okay, but here's the thing: like, how do you know that they're single? Actually,
I feel like
I
with some of them you can ask, but not all of them.
I considered for a moment, like, because like you don't know, you don't want to just like encroach, but then like you think about it, like they're cryptids, they're all relatively solitary and elusive, so they would probably be single.
Yeah, I'm assuming
Like,
that also.
you're not gonna run into
It's
them at
very
a
rare
bar.
that you see more than one at once also. Like, I feel like if they were in a relationship, they'd probably hang out more.
True, and yeah, like they'd go to like the cafe or whatever, like
Yeah.
or like
To be fair, though, I guess you'd see more cryptids at, like, the club or something, and that very, if you're out cruising and stuff like that, and that has not been the case in my observations that I've seen any cryptids at the club. So,
yeah. Well, I
you
mean,
do
also
bring up a good point.
you gotta consider which ones are gonna be like clubbers and stuff. Like I
That's a good
kind of
point.
feel like Bigfoot would club because I mean I'm just out here in the PNW. People are obsessed with Bigfoot out here, and also just like it. I don't know. It's just the vibe. But like you wouldn't see like the
Yeah.
Flatwoods monster at a club or something. That fucking square.
No, Flatswood Monster would be at the library, like, in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I think, like, a lot of, not because I'm, like, a furry and I'm, like, getting really into things with fur, but I feel like the cryptids that have fur are going to be the ones that party more often than ones that are vaguely alien adjacent.
That's fair. I feel like because like no one there's it seems like the jury is out. Like no one can reach a consensus on whether
Mm-hmm.
Chupacabra is like a green alien thing with red eyes or like a coyote with mange. And so like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to qualify that, whether it would be furred or not. But as far as partying goes for
Yeah.
Chupacabra, I do think that Chupacabra parties, but Chupacabra shows up late,
Yeah.
already smashed, and just ruins the mood for a handful of people.
I vaguely feel like, and I don't know this for certain, but I vaguely feel like Chupacabra would do cocaine before a party.
Oh, most
Of all
definitely.
of the ones that are not coming to mind.
I mean, shit.
So I feel that.
Chupacabra would bring the cocaine. He'd be the one that like would be
Oh yeah.
supplying, and everyone would be upset because like they'd be like, you were bringing the goods, man. Where are you?" And he doesn't show up for like 5 hours or something, and like everyone's already nearly burnt out by then, and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
"What's up? Let's get this shit started." And everyone's like, "Dude, we're already starting to get hung over."
He's just like already railing. Like, I know it's 4 in the morning, but we the sun's not up yet, y'all. Let's do this.
Straight up.
So I guess we're like deciding who's the partier of the bunch.
So
Our
far, yeah.
partier's hot though. Like this is not this is a technical non sequitur, but if partiers are hot, then we've already got a great start.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a taste thing. Like, some folks like partiers, some folks don't. But especially if we're
That's a
taking
good
this from the
point.
angle of, like, furry podcasts, I feel like within our community, it's pretty on the nose that we all enjoy a good party. Um,
Oh yeah.
so being able to party and being able to handle that is probably a good trait to have for a hot single.
Yeah.
So that kind of just
Even if you're
like
just like able to just handle a party and just like vibe in a party, that's already like a feather in your cap, as opposed to like,
yeah, like you
not that like not wanting to go to one is something that's not a desirable trait, but the ability to be comfortable in a party is like already great
Yeah,
for
because
you.
like you could still go to a party and be straight edge. Like I think I think Mothman is probably maybe straight edge.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
feel like Mothman
'cause-
out of most of them is like introverted,
oh, most
like on
definitely.
the more introverted end of the things.
I think Mothman had this whole like thing where like the scare tactics against drugs and alcohol worked really, really well. And so he's like
Mm-hmm.
super introverted around people within like a party atmosphere, but he still wants to experience the party atmosphere, but he's still very, very shy about it. So like
Yeah,
you'll see Mothman like in the corner at a party drinking just like punch, like regular like Hawaiian punch that he brought because he didn't think that there'd be anything that wasn't alcoholic there. Um, Probably a little awkward. And there's definitely people who have rumors surrounding him, like, and he knows that he's kind of not popular because of the fact that a lot of people think that he's done a lot of bad things, even though that's like entirely unsubstantiated. Because like no one
oh yeah,
knows for certain that he's the one that made the bridge fall. Maybe he was just trying to warn people,
it's a
"Hey, it's
prediction
gonna happen."
versus
Yeah, and like
yeah.
and he's too introverted to really get that out there and tell people like, hey, so but that's if you like an introvert, that's he's probably a good candidate.
Yeah, that's now that we're talking about this more, this is an extremely subjective like thing we're trying to make non-subjective. And so like that's a good point you bring up because some people would be into that. And it's not even like you would be into that 100% of the time. Like sometimes you're like I would love to hang out with an introvert. I would love to like I feel like Mothman would be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm doing your tarot reading now." It'll go
Oh.
poorly, but
Oh my
um
gosh.
uh it's like I don't know, the vibes are weird. The vibes are going to like change at a personal level, but they're gonna affect the list in a weird way.
I mean, I suppose
I
because
guess
I
like
mean, no, go on.
oh, I was gonna awkwardly segue into being like, what do you think would be top three or something like that as like a intro? But like, I feel like you had an actual point that was a good point and not a hackneyed segue.
Oh, well, I don't know. A top three? Do we list the top three first, or do we like start from the?
It's
Well, and
dawning
that's
on
the
me
thing.
that I didn't, so
Yeah, no,
maybe
I
not.
don't. I'm kind of coming at this like blind, kind of thinking like as a discussion piece, like where because like you gotta really kind of if you're gonna rate them and rank them, you really gotta. There's some debate to be had there, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and a debate on like multiple angles, not just like aesthetic, but like what sort of emotion are they bringing into a situation and stuff like that. So
right.
it's gonna be a tough egg.
Yeah. Well,
I was gonna say because I've done a couple episodes on it. On the very top of my list is going to be like the Dogman, like Michigan Dogman, Beast of Bray Road, etc.
yeah.
Very top of my list.
It,
Very sentimental to those
Yeah,
guys. They're local to
I was
me.
gonna say, yeah, that must have a little bit to do with locality, but but I don't.
Yep, and also the fact that they're Dogmen.
Well, obviously, I have to say I do not share the same sentiments for my local cryptid because I'm not. I don't know. I just don't jive with Bigfoot. It's
Yeah,
I don't know, kind of weird.
Bigfoot's like Bigfoot feels like it would be good for like a one night standard type thing. But if you were to like date a Bigfoot, they would get old pretty fast. And
I
there's
mean,
the
yeah,
obvious
no,
like oh sorry.
Bigfoot would definitely be way too much. Like being around,
Hmm.
yeah. If you're like dating a Bigfoot and you're like, oh my god, can you imagine? Because like this guy's got so much clout, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody who's anybody knows of Bigfoot, and like he's got his cousin Yeti, and like etc. Whatever, for all over the place, and like it's just like, man, everyone knows your family. It's like if you're dating a Kardashian or something. Maybe he wouldn't be quite as
Yeah.
like superficial and shitty, but he'd be so extra. Like, he'd wear, like, some neon fucking Ray-Bans all the time, probably, and, like, a zany tie. He'd be, like, ugh.
Pulling up in a Tesla.
I hate even thinking of it, because I can see him in my head now, and I'm like, I, he's a person that I would only hang out with if someone else brought him there.
Yeah. And it's not, like, I feel like people, like, your friends would want to hang out with them so they could tell their friends that they were hanging out with them, and, like, boom.
Yeah.
It's like, there's, like, a popularity situation, so it's like, I've met this celebrity, etc., now I have bragging rights, and so nobody's gonna hang out with them for them, but I also get the vibe that Bigfoot's not gonna treat that situation like, oh, I'm so sad people hang out with me as a superficial level. I'm pretty sure he eats it up. Like, if someone, like, he doesn't care what the motives
certainly
are if someone's hanging out with him. He's going to be like, I just love that 10 people are in my house right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, like, with that, I feel like if you were, like, that type of person, if that's, like, your thing, I'd maybe put Bigfoot on 10. On the 10 spot, just because he's definitely
that's a good place to put it.
Because, like, he's definitely got some good clout, and basically you're kind of like coming into a rather prestigious family, so to speak. And I mean, as conceited as he definitely is, I don't think that he would be so awful as to be like, well, you should feel lucky though that you're with me. I think that he would still genuinely cherish every moment.
Yeah, like I feel like at his worst it would get to that, but he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna do anything manipulative or something like that. Like, I think that he's got an ego about him, but that would be the like biggest. Oh my God, what's the phrase? Deal breaker. That's a phrase I shouldn't forget normally. What the heck? That's really just a normal phrase. But that would be the biggest deal breaker, and I feel like of all the deal breakers, that's an easy one to handle. I do want to bring up one thing, though. Bigfoot is like a Sasquatch. We have that sort of thing. But is it something that we should rank separately from the related ones that have different names, like a Yowie or like Skunk Ape, like Yeti, stuff like that?
Right.
Would those sort of guys be ranked differently, or is this like we're treating this as an umbrella situation? Because I do think that a lot of the lesser known ones are gonna look exactly the same, but the like way that they handle being a cryptid, handle like people knowing them is obviously going to be at a far lower level because more people will know Yeti than they would, or more people would know Bigfoot than they would like Skunk Ape or something like that.
Right.
So at that point, dating Skunk Ape would be like having the same thing, but it's so much more chill.
Oh, for certain.
But would we rank it separately?
I think maybe, like, because I think in a way it would be problematic to just umbrella all of the Bigfoot adjacent
Totally.
entities out there under the same umbrella, right? I don't want to like wake up tomorrow and have like a call out post on me like, oh my God, did you see that Icky just thinks that all Bigfoots are the same? And it's like, no, that's not. Oh gosh. So like, I don't want to. I don't want it to come off that way, and especially in the case of Skunk Ape, I feel like Skunk Ape is nearly a different class entirely. Like, and I agree with what you said.
I can see that.
Like, I mean, Skunk Ape is definitely, if you are like the just salt of the earth, like backwoods, you just kind of rednecky and just like want to just,
and a musk enthusiast.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like, Skunk Ape definitely likes fucking NASCAR. I don't doubt that for a second.
Yeah.
Like,
which is cool.
No, he's honestly, Skunk Ape, I can vibe.
I could vibe. It's an entirely different to hang out with skunk ape would be entirely different than to hang out with Bigfoot, and I almost camped them in the same umbrella. But you're bringing up these really good points. We should separate them. Like obviously that this makes a lot more sense, and I like the way you're thinking with this.
Yeah, and and regionally with like Yeti Yowie and stuff like that, like I feel like they'd probably have somewhat similar dispositions to Bigfoot, except it would be it would be relative to like their region, because like different cultures and different like sort of mentalities and stuff. So like I'm sure that Yeti doesn't carry the fame quite the same that Bigfoot does.
Totally, actually, yeah. Like, even the academic circles that would... I'm just going to say academic circles, like, this is something that a lot of scientists regularly study, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit. The people doing experiments are going to handle the Yeti situation far more differently than they would a Bigfoot situation.
Yeah, most definitely.
So, like, there's a kind of Oxford quality to Yeti.
Oh, man.
To a degree.
I absolutely love that definition for it. That's actually...
Thank you.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool. I came up with that. I'm feeling it. They're wearing the collared shirts, but they don't button up in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah. You definitely leave one or two unbuttoned.
Well, now I feel weird about wanting to, like, rank one above the other or below the other, because, like, obviously these are entirely different vibes that have perks and things that some people would consider to not be ideal in a relationship. But that's, like, boom, across the board different from everybody, and it's very hard to, like, objectively pick one that would be an eligible bachelor as opposed to another one. Which isn't like, let's go back to the umbrella thing, because let's not do that. But gosh, am I hard-pressed to think about who I would rather date.
Yeah, it's difficult. For me, I think it would definitely be Skunk Ape. Like...
Me also.
Yeah, he's definitely got a look to him that I'm like, I mean, we could work on you a little bit, hon. But at the same time, everything else about him is just great. Like, super down-to-earth, like... pounded.
I'm a musk enthusiast.
Yeah, there you go, exactly.
Go on also.
And I just like to be able to, like, chill on the porch and pound some beers and just shoot the shit. And you wouldn't get that with Bigfoot. He'd be like, oh yeah, let's go to the bar, the sports bar or whatever, and like, but not the like sports bar, the like bougie one that's in downtown, and the one that has like cornhole inside and stuff.
Damn.
And like,
oh, I'm going to a bar and it suck.
And he'd be like, let's go there, and like,
that you could do that at a bar.
they'd have like kamikazes for $3, but it's mostly just like lemonade or whatever. And it's like he gets ridiculously fucked up because that's like one of the things that he's known for. Everyone's like, oh my god, look at him doing his wild stuff. Meanwhile, Skunk Ape, you chill, you have a couple tall boys, you're just sitting on the porch watching cars pass by, shoot the shit, and that's what I'm about. That
I think I'm about that too.
Yeah.
I feel like I should write something, because the more that we talk about stuff, the less I'm gonna just remember numbers. Skunk Ape. Look at me with Google Docs, being able to look at the numbers and the editing. Skunk Ape is great. That's just all I typed.
Skunk Ape is great.
He's great.
I'm gonna... Personally... I put him, like, on 5, probably.
Okay. Oh, this is... You know what? The formatting of Google Docs is going to make it really weird for me. Oh, okay, there we go. I did it. Who's on 5? Oh, look at me. I'm a computer whiz. Nobody can look at anything I'm doing, but trust me when I say I'm a computer whiz now.
I should believe it.
Is Bigfoot on the list then? Like, maybe like a 7, 8-ish, but it'd go lower before it'd get higher for me.
Nah, personally, I would leave Bigfoot right at 10. There's people that vibe with
Cool.
that, but I'm not them. And for those folks, they can like take this list at the end of it and rearrange it how they feel is uh appropriate. But
Oh yeah, like if I'm probably gonna put because I do podcasting on places where you don't leave comments, but boy howdy do I put this on YouTube. So if you have a different opinion, we'd love to hear it. Like actually, genuinely, that sounded disingenuous, and that's because I'm bad with the way I use my words.
Bigfoot, and I feel like I we totally had this discussion about like how it could be problematic to do the blanket thing, but at the same time, there are so many similarities. So I feel like you could swap out Yeti for that spot too. You could swap out like
Yeah,
Yowie and stuff, but like
I would rather hang out with Bigfoot than Yeti, to be honest.
really, like what?
I think so.
Do you think like Yeti's just like too astute and like in your face about it?
Well, either that, but I feel like Yeti would be if he's gonna be in a pub. Like I feel like there's like a weird introverted quality to Yeti, but not in the same way that Mothman's introverted, where there's like a lot of pressure. People kind of like have a weird opinion about you. Yeti is introverted in a more. A lot of people think I'm the shit, and I don't. I'm gonna just remove myself from the publics because I don't want to deal with the haters when there aren't like haters in the first place. There's like a sort of like a misanthropy thing going on with Yeti. I feel like as opposed to like a concern for self-image to the point where I don't think that the misanthropy would be a genuine trait that I would want to be around more.
Right. It's not like the kind of
I
like
could be totally wrong here.
it's not like the goth aesthetic misanthropy where like I strangers please do not
It's like
interact,
yeah,
but
it's an
also
academic
wanting
misanthropy.
the best for you. It's like yeah, it's like I'm better than you. Oh man, yeah, no, I've known enough people in my life who are like that. I wouldn't even want to come close.
Yeah, I feel it. Bigfoot would be. I think personally, I would not get as annoyed as maybe some, but there's definitely that weird narcissism going on that I would have to like work out with him. But I don't think it's something that can't be worked out, which I can't say the same about Yeti for.
For sure. No, Bigfoot would definitely be. I feel like Bigfoot would be harder to work out with. Actually, work that out. Like,
Okay, I feel it. I feel it.
cause like Bigfoot doesn't have the the academic clout behind him. He doesn't have like a piece of paper that tells you like, yeah, number one party dude. Whereas Yeti with
Yeah,
this
that would be kind of
astute,
cool if it's like institutionally recognized.
yeah. But like
There's a boon there.
if Yeti has like this academic air about him, like there's a whole institutional backing there, which it makes it a lot more easy to be like, oh yes, all stuck up and stuff, and like
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot harder to work the um like self-absorbedness, the conceit out of someone who also has like institutional backing saying that they are smart or whatever. So,
That exactly. Yep. I'm on board with that thought process 100%.
yeah. Okay.
I
Um
brought up Dogman earlier, but I don't know what your background with like the Michigan Dogman, the Beast of Bray Road is. If you have a background on those guys at all, because they're
I'm
weirdly niche for being really cool werewolves that shouldn't be niche.
yeah, I no, I'm familiar of the with the Michigan Dogman having lived in relatively the area. And
Oh, you're right.
heard of the Beast of Brayra, but I'm not sure I'm particularly savvy on either of them like heavily. I know that I'm
Those ones.
like
Oh, sorry, you're saying.
the Michigan Dogman wasn't he was like one of the first sightings was like off the side of a road or whatever, right? As they usually are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some I've read like these are the ones if I know anything about. I know that I read 5 books about these guys, so these are the ones for me of all of the things that I've done in my life with my life. But the two of them are ones I would put in an umbrella category, to be honest, because they both kind of got sighted at around the same time, and the sightings had like their rise and fall at roughly the same time, and the descriptions are vaguely near identical. Like you've got a tall, shaggy, 6 to 7 foot, not a werewolf per se, but like tall, upright, furry dude with dog face and ears and stuff. So these ones would be one I'd put in an umbrella category, but I wanted to bounce off of you what your opinions on that would be. The encounters are also pretty similar.
I'm so about that, and I mean, the question is, is that even like, could that just be a werewolf, or is it?
I hope it is
something. Yeah, like I mean, same because that's great, and I mean, there's so many examples throughout history of that, all around the world. So like, I totally agree that it could just be a blanket category, just because like lycanthropy in general. But that's like also totally like such. I feel like that's almost a cop out because of course werewolves are going to be number one, right?
Yeah, I would put it at number one. I feel like I'd feel like a normie if I did that, but it is my heart telling me to put werewolves at the very close to the top.
I mean, I would not feel like a normie about that one. I don't think that most normal, average people see a werewolf and go, "Holy shit, that's I want a piece of that. Give me some of that meat."
That's a brilliant point.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that.
That's okay. Yeah. So I think that number one, while it's obvious,
that it's also subject to change.
Yeah, no, it's perfect to be there at least as a placeholder, and if in the end like we resolve, werewolves number one, of course. Like, what did you really expect, right?
Yeah. It checks out. The thing about the Dogman specifically that I would be like, whoa, personally, I would love a partier, but the Dogman would be more introverted than extroverted. But that also totally works for just like the vibe that the Dogman is doing right now.
Right. Well, I mean, extrapolate.
Very non-instigating.
Oh, okay.
All of the encounters are just, we're seeing him, he's running off with a few things where it's like, I'm talking to you through psychic stuff. I'm making you very afraid through psychic type stuff. None of the encounters are like, here we are, I'm gonna do something violent, unless it's like, I need to steal a camera, I need to break a motion sensor, stuff like that. So we're dealing with like a very elusive type person in this situation, according to the encounters that I've read about and stuff like that. But it doesn't not work in terms of eligible bachelorness. Yeah,
bachelorness. That's the proper one.
Good.
Okay. I just thought of this, and I'm really trying to place it, and it's really hard, because there's a lot to consider here, because there's some baggage. But like,
I brought up 4 points and they're not related to each other.
You brought up 4 points?
So I don't know, like a number that's not one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Where does the Jersey Devil place?
My heart says 3 and I don't know who would be 2, but the Jersey Devil is up there. I love the Jersey Devil.
I mean, same, because like
the Jersey Devil. I wasn't good. I didn't have a point. Go on.
The Jersey Devil is just like this weird chimera, like amalgamation of stuff, and like it's really interesting. It's really awesome, and I love
it's got pagan energy.
All of that. It's so good. Yeah, it's just great because like I mean yeah like literally the whole like legend is that Mrs. Leeds has said let this one be a devil on her 13th child or whatever out of spite for whatever reason or something. Definitely pagan
Understandable.
energy. If you are
Oh
definitely
yeah,
if you're into like the occult, into witchy shit, then for sure. But however, we extremely need to consider the fact there's some pretty heavy family history baggage there. I mean,
yeah. And I don't think it's like
this,
family baggage where you're gonna have to deal with it like all the time. Like they're not talking with each other anymore, but there will be a point in time where you're gonna have to be like, I have to talk to my mom today, and it's like an oh shit, okay, that's heavy.
that's gonna be a wild one, because, like, straight up, like,
Yeah.
uh, you know, their mom was like, I don't fucking want any more kids. This sucks. This is awful. I hate this shit. And basically
That's a good point.
cursed them to be like a monster. So like in turn they like killed the rest of the family, I'm pretty sure, right? So like there's a lot of stuff to unpack there.
Yeah. That makes sense. That would knock it down a little bit for me, to be honest, actually.
Yeah.
Um, because it's like if you're gonna like lash out like that, not process your trauma and stuff like that, then there's no way you're gonna handle anything. Like a relationship is not going to be the top priority for the Jersey Devil. It's
Yeah.
going to be very much so a side project, and that's never the way anybody's relationship should ever go.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. So given all the baggage there in I like three. Three's a
They're
pretty good
aesthetically
spot.
beautiful, but I can make it higher. Or when I say higher, I mean like high on the list. But technically, 3 is a low number, so I'm not using my words tonight.
Right.
Um,
I'm gonna have to say for
which is
me, you know what? I'll agree with three because support is important. Support for your partner, and
mm-hmm.
there's a lot of
Yeah,
baggage
totally.
and stuff.
But if you're gonna, it's hard to like start a relationship at that point, because then it's like you're not gonna build trust as quickly.
Yeah,
But
and
if
I
you do
mean,
build trust, then you're gonna nail that situation
straight
probably.
up, and just look at what you're getting. Like, I mean, to be superficial for a moment, look at that. Like, there is
Yes, that's why it's really good
that
to me that this thing exists.
it's a whole package. That's just wonderful.
Definitely. There's hooves, there's bat wings, there's a lot that is beautiful about the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, there's nothing to really dislike aesthetically, for sure.
To be fair, I think I would rather hang out with Skunk Ape, which makes me want to put Skunk Ape slightly higher on the list, but I also really like the Jersey Devil a lot, and so I will not lose any sleep having the Jersey Devil higher on the list than the Skunk Ape.
All right, yeah, that's totally fair. I can jive with that. I think I'll jive with that
Okay.
because
We'll do 3 for now, and then we'll see what's up.
Skunk Ape isn't
Oh, wait,
gonna
where
complain
to?
about like Skunk Ape isn't gonna complain about like family issues that much. Probably Skunk Ape's probably a lot more reserved in that regard.
Yeah. There's a long-term energy to the Skunk Ape that I'm very much so learning to appreciate the more we talk about them.
Absolutely. All right. Um,
Um, we should probably bring up Mothman.
I agree.
Mothman's great.
I agree, but hold on. Let me pause for just a moment.
Go
Because
for it.
Katie works tonight, apparently. I thought she worked on
Gotcha.
Tuesday and then to Friday and to Saturday. So
You need to do the driving
let
thing
me
then?
drive. It's like 40 minutes. And I'll be able to
Totally
pick
chill.
right back up.
Cool.
All right.
I'm here for it then.
Hell yeah.
I'll do a little pause for the time being, but yeah, totally do the thing. Alrighty. I actually don't remember what we were talking about, but we're back for part 2 of this episode, and we're rolling right in. I think we're gonna talk about Mothman, but that's just because what my page is open to right now.
oh yeah, no,
Might be wrong.
it was definitely Mothman.
Cool. All right. What's the vibe on Mothman?
Um, so
Uh, we brought them up earlier, but I feel like we didn't tackle it as much as Mothman deserves at this
I
point.
agree. I think we decided that he's definitely relatively introverted due to the fact that there's
Mm-hmm.
so much negative opinions around him. People think that he, fucking broke that bridge and other things, and I think that's a misnomer. I don't think that's accurate at all, personally. But I mean,
I do agree
yeah,
strongly.
yeah, okay, cool. Because like I think that realistically, like when you get through like the tough exterior of what is Mothman, and like you get you just break through the barriers there, and like he's just a real jive cat. Like he's real cool. I
I
yeah.
feel it. Not because of the premonition thing, like all by itself, but just because I feel like Mothman has that vibe. But I do believe that Mothman is a very like a horoscope person. Like Mothman is really into horoscopes and stuff.
Hmm.
And I don't know enough about horoscopes to be like, this is the one that Mothman is.
Oh gosh,
But I
no.
know that Mothman knows.
For yeah, for certain. Like I mean, if you're clairvoyant, which Mothman obviously is, you are
Mm-hmm.
quite probably also going to be into like horoscopes, like palm reading and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it. Like, I imagine Mothman
I
dabbles.
think that of anyone else that we have listed so far, Mothman would probably be the most worldly of any of them.
Yeah, I can strongly agree with that
Yeah.
one.
Like honestly, the more that I go in to this and keep on thinking about Mothman and realizing just how cool he is, the more I'm like, this is like possibly the number one Bachelor. Like I will,
Yeah. Oh my gosh, hanging out with Mothman would be like an experience in and of itself, like a very pleasant one, let alone like anything that's horny and fun, in my
yeah, right?
opinion, the more we're talking about him.
Like, cause man, I absolutely love like werewolves and stuff, and I do agree that's like a number one spot. But for on an individual basis, I think for me, Mothman has to take number one. The more I think about it, like
I agree with that. I agree with that. Cause like the energy that I was talking about earlier that like a dogman would have, where like you're gonna be introverted, you're not gonna want to really like go to the party to go balls to the walls. Here I am doing um, Molly or something like that. Like Mothman doesn't have that energy, but in a way where like Mothman's very chill in that situation. Like Mothman will be in the corner just sipping on something, but it's not gonna be a weird thing like imagine it would be if you're doing it with Dogman or doing it with like a Jersey Devil or something
yeah.
like that. So Mothman
Well, I mean,
is very easy to get along with.
yeah, Mothman. I think that Mothman, being as worldly as he is and stuff, would probably be like open. Like when you have broken through those barriers and stuff, you can introduce Mothman to new experiences that he's been closed off from for a while now, such as like partying and stuff and drinking. Um,
Totally.
I think that like I wouldn't look at it as like, oh, it's a project, like the Jersey Devil would be a bit of a project with all the baggage. Um,
Strong agree.
yeah, but Mothman is more of like I think you'd just be each other's rock and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
both mutually introduce each other to new experiences which the other wouldn't have considered without. And that is honestly, I think that's the best right there.
If Mothman were to have baggage, it would be like existential philosophical stuff. It's never like Mothman doesn't have beef with anybody. Mothman doesn't have any like relationships that he's burned with anybody.
Yeah, no.
The conversations you'd have with the baggage would be like the most enlightening conversations you'd ever have.
Yeah, exactly. It's not Mothman didn't burn any bridges. Like there's a broken
Hmm.
bridge, but it wasn't him. Um,
Did not
does
catch
that was
fire.
not fire. So and it definitely wasn't set by him.
Can we make jokes about
Yeah,
it? Okay,
it's
cool.
maybe been long enough now
I
that
think so, but I'm double checking.
I think that like he's probably kind of over it. There's definitely folks who would still be raw about it if they met him, but
Hmm.
that's just wrong place, wrong time. Or well, I don't know about wrong place, wrong time, considering like he was trying to warn everyone, and that's the thing, and I
Yeah.
think that was probably a miscalculation on his part because when you know something's about to happen and you try to warn people whom you don't really have an easy way of communicating with, and you just appear as a terrifying, ominous figure in the distance, um, that doesn't come off as, hey, something bad's gonna happen, guys. You should be careful and stuff. That comes off as an omen. And so
Hmm.
I think that the good deed uh, was just like misunderstood.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Like the effort was put there. It was just it wasn't received the way it should have been, and that's like nobody's fault, especially not
Yeah,
Mothman's.
for sure. It's just a miscommunication, and it happens. You can't hold that against anyone.
Yeah, Mothman's number one for me. Like you've talked me into it, and I'm here for it, and I strongly agree.
I'm glad we're on the same page here with Mothman because he's just great as an individual. Mothman, number one for sure.
Absolute
And
gentleman.
I think I could totally put like Dogman and stuff there on number two. Um,
I'm comfortable with that.
but you said something about it's a little rowdy, wild, or something at parties. You think, or something like
Um, no, I feel like neither of them would be. Like I'm thinking like a maybe um the like chupacabra would be probably any like a goat man would be, I think, to that
oh for
degree.
sure. Chupacabra definitely
Yeah.
like like we said cocaine and probably tons of lean. I'm sure. Like Chupacabra has a
Yeah. Oh yeah, all
problem
the time.
for sure. Um, but I can also
Should
see
Cooper should chupacabra be on the list?
like should Chupacabra. I can see it being a problematic fave for some people.
It would have to be higher than Bigfoot though, because Bigfoot's at 10 right
Well, it
now.
would definitely be higher than Bigfoot. It's not hard to get much higher than Bigfoot, as long as you're not like the
Yeah.
Flatwoods monster. Um,
Flatwoods Monster is not going to be on this list if I can
no,
help
same
it.
with no, not like no Frogman. I'm not about that. Maybe like
Oh, oh, I
oh,
like the
you like the
Frogman,
Frogman? Oh well,
but I'll
that's a
let you have that
discussion to be
one.
had then,
Frogman
though.
shoots little sparklers off. That's so funny.
Okay.
Frogman's funny, and I like funny, but Frogman would be like a one trick pony.
I mean,
Now that I'm like getting
thinking
clarity.
about it, I do think you might be right there. Like Frogman is definitely like okay, when your whole thing is like you're a big frog, basically. Like, what else are you like? What
Hmm.
else do you have to play off of? Like, yeah, you gotta be funny.
You can shoot sparkles
Yeah, yeah.
with your
It's just
magic
oh
wand.
my god, he's just a magic trick gone wrong. That's all he is.
It's like dating a magician, which is not something I've done, nor is something I know anybody who's done it. But dating a magician feels like it's a very non-neutral activity.
um, I dated someone who knew a couple magic tricks a while back.
Okay,
Um,
were they a career musician or career magician though?
yeah, no, I can't really speak to what it would be like. Like it's not like it would be like dating a clown. That would be something
Hmm.
else entirely.
That'd be
But
tricky.
I just
And
I,
actually,
I like
yeah, no, that'd be
I like
tricky.
the thought of like a magician. Like if you were dating Frogman, being probably a magician, probably a comedian, and probably that's like
Hmm.
definitely their career too. Is like a comic magician like the Amazing Jonathan or something, and like
Yeah.
it oh man, just like kind of washed up and playing shows in Vegas all the time, same set. But like, can you? I don't know if like Frogman would bring his work home with him, and just be like, you
Yeah.
go to reach for like a spoon, and it turns into spiders or something, and you're like, ah, damn it, Frogman, can I? I'm
Hmm.
just trying to get some Cheerios. Like, come on.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of like you can't play cards with them because you're just gonna be like playing Texas Hold'em, and then they'll be holding one card, and you're like, okay, where'd the other one go? And then Loveland Frogs would be like, oh, check behind your ear. Like that's not how the game's played. You're not
Yeah,
gonna win. You're just being
exactly. Like you
annoying.
go down for the flop, and then like Frogman's like, "Oh, was this your card?" And it's like, "Well, it was, but now I've lost the hand because of you, because you somehow stole it. You, ah, like I can see it getting real old real fast. So, like you said, one trick pony.
Hmm.
Um,
I'd keep it. Yeah, Bigfoot. I would rather hang out with than the Frogman. So I'll side with you on that side.
yeah. So do you
It is good to talk about
do
it
you
though.
think that you'd actually put Bigfoot above Frogman then?
At this point, probably
Oh
yeah.
man.
It wouldn't be by a. It'd be by a small margin, but it wouldn't. I think I'd rather hang out with Bigfoot. I'd rather
So
date
we'd
Bigfoot.
have like Frogman 10, Bigfoot at 9.
Yeah, okay, I'm
I
here for
think
that.
that's fair. Cause like at least Bigfoot, like, while he's probably so crazy extra and it's just like a headache sometimes, like, he's still genuine and he's there for you and everything. I feel like Frogman doesn't
Yeah,
have that sense of like wherewithal to
yeah.
realize that he's being too much and then needs to maybe calm down a little.
Your friends can hang out with Bigfoot. Your friends cannot hang out with the Frogman.
Absolutely true. That is
Yep.
the quote for the episode right there. I love
Your friends love Bigfoot, but your friends are not allowed near
that.
the Loveland Frogs.
So good.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, we were gonna get to Chupacabra though. Should Chupacabra go on the list
I
or?
do think so. I think that Chupacabra
I
would
think so
be
also.
fitting at 8 for me. But like, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll
You
say it.
think
I'll say
8?
it. Definitely, I would hang out with Chupacabra. I would hang out with Skunk Ape and then Chupacabra. I wouldn't like Chupacabra. I would rather hang out with than Bigfoot, just because I love doing wild things that are crazy.
Mhm.
And there's like a genuineness to him. He's not just doing it for notoriety or for people to think he's cool. He's genuinely. Now that I'm saying this out loud, could be more of like a problematic fave because he's doing it because it's like an addiction, but it's also like he's chasing that high all the time. But it's not like to be cool. He's doing it because he's like he got a high once and he's always trying to chase it,
Mhm. Yeah.
which might be less genuine now that I've said that
I
out loud.
mean,
Not that it's like disingenuine.
yeah. Well, I mean that's how you work through it though, right? But I mean,
Yeah, that's like the next. That's the step of working through.
I
It, yeah.
I like that actually though. I can agree with that. I think that there's a good chance that maybe
He's
there was something
skydived.
that happened. Like the of all of them, I feel like almost Chupacabra was one of the more mysterious because
Mm-hmm.
we're not even solid on how he looks. Um, but he's
Yep.
got two
And
looks.
it could just be dog with
Yeah,
mange.
exactly. And he's got like two looks that people are like, it's probably one of these two, and they're both pretty solid. They're both like not bad looks. But one of them is, like you
Yeah,
said, it's dog
I
with
like
mange.
mange.
But like he's
Like mange is a general
yeah,
thing.
yeah. He's pretty mysterious. And so like there could be something back there that happened uh way in his past that was not exactly savory for him, and maybe that's what got him on this path of like the addiction and chasing that high is kind of he might very well have something in his past that he's trying to avoid letting to the forefront. of his mind. And maybe it's a coping mechanism for the blood sucking.
Yeah, I've never indulged in blood sucking myself personally, but I do feel as though that is a high that's hard to replicate for some, namely chupacabra.
Well, yeah, and here's
I don't. Yeah, that's a good
here's the
point.
other question though. Like thinking about it, like how often is it nowadays that you really um hear about like goat suckers, like chupacabra attacks and stuff? It's not.
Oh, not at
Yeah,
all.
it hasn't happened in a really long time that I recall.
Not even like as of this year where people aren't outside at all, but like not like the past 10 years and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. And so that actually leads me to wonder if is Chupacabra even a bachelor? Like maybe he's got
You're
someone
right.
and they've really straightened
He
him
might have
out.
settled down. Oh, well now we gotta know if they swing.
If mm,
But that's a different topic
oh,
altogether. That's not
hmm.
ranking eligibility. That's just seeing if he swings, which would be pertinent information, but not for this
I do
list.
feel well, I mean, I feel like knowing if they swing is also a helpful thing. It depends on
I
what you
guess
want.
it keeps them on or off the
Yeah.
list.
Um
In that case,
yeah.
I like Chupacabra. I like Chupacabra
I
though.
do like Chupacabra. Um, I am going to say probably not a bachelor, but
Mm-hmm.
if in your area, maybe try to hit it up and maybe I'd
Yeah.
say an 8 is a good spot if
Could give him honorable
yeah, or an
mention.
honorable mention. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Let's let you put a pin in it and we'll see if we come up
Yeah.
with another any other better candidates for a number 8.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Um, who haven't we talked about yet? In my list, I've got the Kelly Hopkinsville Goblins, a big mouthful just to say out loud in general, but fun nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Kelly Hopkinsville. But there is the potential that it's just a gray alien with some gear going on with it,
That's
which would be like, well, now we're in the same camp as like gray aliens in general slash Dover Demon in general slash etc.
yeah, and you can't really like I don't want to say that would be a cryptid. And then there's going
Yeah.
back to Chupacabra, there's also the folks that think maybe it's an alien or an alien pet or something.
Mm-hmm.
So would that still fit into cryptid as a category?
That might be what Mothman is, and Mothman's like the cryptid.
Oh man, you're
Capital
right.
T.
Okay, so it's a very
That's Indrid Cold's pet.
it's a very blurred line that we have between here. So I don't think we want to get too deep into what would count technically and not. But I
Okay.
do think probably a strong stop on anything that is agreed to probably be ambiguously extraterrestrial.
Yeah, that checks out. That checks out. Um,
And also just the idea of the goblin, like I mean goblins, come on.
I think I like goblins.
You think
Prefer kobolds,
oh
but
yeah.
goblins are scrappy. They're just cute.
I mean goblins
I
are
guess I'm like
scrappy,
a
I guess.
yeah. Nobody's really after scrappy more than they are after anything else. So I'm comfortable with not having them on the list.
That's fair. But I mean I would love though if you have an argument pro goblin, then let's I want to hear it.
Do if I
Yeah.
have one? It's goblins are like I feel like they're really open to experimentation, which is fun. They're not gonna read a book on anything, but they're definitely going to overhear something, try it once, and be like, okay, that was fun. Which is, like, both a bane and a boon, because it's like, well, every day is an experience. We're going to do something new, but there's never going to be, like, I don't feel like a goblin's going to have a hobby. They're going to be like, okay, we're cooking. I made an omelet. It turned into scrambled eggs, but I'll eat it. Stuff like that.
Yeah, no. Definitely, like, a jack of all trades, master of none.
They're not disinterested in what you're into, though, which is the main takeaway here.
See, that is really good. That's a great trait to have, is like for your partner to be able to listen to like your day or listen to you gush on and on about Hatsune Miku, and like they may not personally actually really be wildly about it, but they're so interested to hear how into it you are. Definitely a good trait.
Yeah, I do like that. The other thing about goblins is I think, which is also like a boon / bane situation, but they're always hanging out with their friends, and like, if you like them, you're probably gonna like their friends, but it's very rare that you're gonna like have one-on-one time. But you always are gonna have you're gonna be invited to the squad, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, but I mean, there's that also with that could lead to like a weird like polycule thing or something too, which
that'd be
I
fun.
mean could be fun, but you also want to avoid any sort of potential like quandaries that could also arise therein.
You'd wanna approach that situation fully aware that that's what's going on. You don't want to like stumble into it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with putting a pin in this one. Not Bigfoot is like the indicator of what we're putting on or off the list. Probably would hang out with Bigfoot.
Right.
First.
Like it's for me with the goblin like goblins, it's like just I don't entirely hate them, and I don't entirely hate the whole idea of them, and especially you've really kind of opened me up to that. But
okay, I'm glad I could do that.
But I still just kind of can't get past, and I know it's crazy superficial and everything, but it's just the looks. Like I'm not sure I can really jive too much. Like it's too humanoid maybe for me.
Yeah, I feel that. There's not a lot of flash going on there.
Yeah, and I mean the big ears and stuff, and the like green skin, like I don't know. There's something about it. It's kind of a little wacky, little off-putting.
Like the gremlins. I wouldn't find a gremlin attractive.
Like from the movies? That's honestly, man, I cannot agree. Nope. Gremlins are so good. They're great. In fact, if I
can let you have that
if I got one of those things, I would pour water on it immediately. 'Cause like
I would pour water on it immediately. That would be an upgrade to me.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other people I'd probably rather hang out with in the mythological community.
All right, I can agree there. I don't think that we should.
Gremlins
shouldn't go on the list anywhere or anything. They should hardly be a discussion topic because they're like a fictional like pop culture icon, not like
they're not.
They're not a cryptid. Well, speaking of pop culture icons, like could SCPs count?
Oh,
because like
I do like SCPs. I really like I don't think I'm gonna ever remember anybody's number at all, but I like the one that kind of looks like a crocodile, but it destroys a lot of things.
I know. I can't remember the number of that one either. That one's really good, and
I like that one.
Yeah, I really love that one. I do think it would probably be toxic though, because like it's the opposite of the Midas touch. It's everything turns to ash, but I think. Of any
no intimacy.
like as an honorable mention, I guess, to try and stay consistent with the theming of only cryptids, but to like
Mm-hmm.
honorable mention Mallow, absolutely beautiful. Just she is,
Is that the skull dog
yeah,
one?
she's just wonderful.
Strong agree. She's
She's
beautiful.
absolutely beautiful.
Oh, I love. Yeah, she's an
And
honorable
like
mention.
her whole
I'm writing
thing,
that down right now.
like she's kind of just like she's kind of obsessed with you, which is a thing. And it's like it can be a little probably overbearing, I'm sure, but like I don't think that it's to such an unhealthy degree that anything uh bad really comes of it. I've never heard
Oh
or
yeah, not at
seen
all.
of any of it like turning uh bad. So really, it's just like, if you can open yourself up to like this girl who's like really distant a lot of the time, but she really wants to get to know you. And if you can just have that patience to let her approach you on her own terms at her own pace, I think you're gonna be having a really, really nice time with that, probably.
Yeah, you're gonna have her full like attention, and that's a really good relationship if you're like both
Yeah.
completely in each other's full attention. Like that's I would totally have the patience for that. I do believe I would hang out
Oh
with
yeah.
Malo. She's cool.
100%. Um. Okay. We got a pin in goblins though.
Other
Wh-
yeah, I'll put a pin in goblins. We got some pins. I think the Hopkinsville, Kellysville, they really just chose two names, put a hyphen in between them, and I'm gonna forget the order. But those goblins specifically are like 90% aliens, so that'll be something I'd remove the pin out of and then put in to goblins as a category in general.
Okay. Uh.
Speaking of things that are like vaguely pop culture, because we got werewolves on the list to a degree, but I feel iffy about putting vampires on the list, and I don't have a reason why. I feel like vampires are like they're not cryptid to me,
No.
but they
And
yeah.
and it sounds weird to make that distinction when werewolves are also part human anyway, just as like vampires are.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's something, the thing is like the werewolf, like when you're a werewolf and you turn into a werewolf, by the way, it's a full moon tonight, I noticed, which is great. But
Yeah, this is a good episode.
this is great. This is the perfect time for this. But like when
Slowly waiting for a werewolf related plot twist to knock on my window. But go on.
but when you turn into a werewolf, you're the werewolf. Like that's you're not
Yeah.
you're not the person who is the werewolf. You are the werewolf. So like literally it's like two separate entities. Whereas when you're a vampire, and that's just what you are. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that
And it's like all the time.
yeah, it's all the time just who you are. That's what it is. And I don't think that you can really have the distinction there uh, of a
Plus we got
cryptid.
like yeah. Plus we got like just the Dogman sightings carrying over werewolf into the cryptid community, just like the Dogman legend all by itself is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and it works
For certain.
to make it that. So
Absolutely true.
werewolves not, or I mean, vampires not on the list. Totally comfy with that.
hmm So we've got so many listed right now of like, mountainous and like forested, wooded areas and stuff. But like, there's plenty of folks who like to live near water and stuff. So I feel like we need to like consider Ogopogo and like Nessie and such.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I was gonna steer it that way if you didn't, and so thank you very much for that. But we shouldn't umbrella them. I don't think.
Not Ogopogo and Nessie specifically because
Yeah,
like
those are boom.
they're
completely separate.
they are entirely different. Like
Nessie.
I mean
Nessie.
Nessie has
What's to be said that hasn't already been said?
Nessie is probably the most prolific, barring like
Yeah.
Bigfoot. So
There's the notoriety thing going on, but for whatever there's no reason for me to actually prove this, but for whatever reason I feel like Nessie handles it more gracefully.
probably, but I think a
Yeah.
lot of it to do with that is the fact that Nessie is definitely a MILF.
Yeah, that's a lot of things for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I'm,
like
yeah,
Nessie is.
I worded that in a way where I disagree, but I really agree because I'm personally in DILF camp territory all the time, but I can appreciate a MILF all the time also.
Yeah, Nessie has been around for a long time. Um, and so I think with that, there has been plenty of time to adjust to the popularity and the fame. And also, like, it's starting to fade a little bit more and more, it seems. So, like, I don't want to call Nessie a has-been, but I think Nessie is starting to settle into the life of post-stardom.
Yeah, like one of those celebrities. I almost just said Judy Garland, but I don't think that's the case whatsoever. Not having read a biography on Judy Garland. But I feel what you're saying. Like we've entered into the spotlight, we've done a beautiful job with it, and now we're slowly, like, not even turning into a diva or anything. We're just like gracefully retiring into what we've made with our life. Nessie's got experience, like, but I feel like Nessie's been in the most relationships out of anybody on this list.
Oh, for sure.
Not like in terms of, oh, these all went wrong, but she probably ended them all with grace. She has really good wherewithal with where she's been. She knows what she wants. I feel like she'd be great maybe in bed because of that also, but who's to say?
Who's to say? I mean, yeah, yeah. Nessie would probably show you things you never even thought were possible. Um,
Oh yeah.
which would definitely totally like you'd be like taken aback at first because you'd be like, "Holy crap! I can't believe that you can do this sort of thing." Um, but I mean, I'm all here for that. So like, that's great. Um,
Would you be more, not to steer this away from Nessie discourse, but would you be more like a Nessie fan or Okopogo fan? Would you say?
I mean, it's kind of hard. Um, I am partly Scottish, so like I have that little bit of bias. But there's also the fact that like Ogopogo is interesting because that's just really one really long, lanky body, basically. Like,
All of the subtext has not been lost.
like, yeah, you can try and think of just like what kind of wacky things can get down there, right?
Yeah, that's what I like, that concept a lot. I also am like, not that I just realized it, but you were about to say something insightful about Nessie, and I don't want to like have cut you off without getting back to that. If you had a really good point you wanted to
I
make.
have no idea if I had a point or not, so I don't
Perfect.
think it's
I misread that then in a way that
cool.
works.
Um, Nessie to
I
me,
don't.
no, go on.
Now that I'm thinking about Okopogo, I don't want their defining trait to be long, thin tube of existence.
I mean, that's fair.
There's more to
There,
it than
that
that.
is absolutely fair.
But that's a good thing.
Um, well, I think I do want to try and find a spot for Nessie as well, though. And
Good
I
point.
don't know how much I think Ogopogo. Like, I'll be honest, Ogopogo, I don't know the very most about anyway. Um, because
Good Wikipedia.
I kind of feel like Ogopogo kind of just showed up late to the game and was like, Ogopogo is like, oh, I heard that you can be big and famous and popular as like a sea monster after like hearing about Nessie and stuff. And so Ogopogo came on the scene and was like, "Hey, check me out too, guys." And it's like trying to just steal that clout.
Yeah, but not even kind of like in a poser way, but like I don't think it's an intentionally poser way. Like I do think that they're seeing something that worked and trying to do a spin on it. But people are reading it as, oh, we got a copycat
Yeah,
situation here,
most definitely.
and yeah, it is a matter of interpretation as opposed to intention though, which is like which is why I do like Ogopogo more for that, because I don't think there's any conceit involved with the way that they're presenting themselves.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't. Well, yeah, I think that maybe sometimes like Ogopogo will probably like look at their following count and get a little upset about it.
Oh yeah, they'll get upset about it, and they're probably soft stalking Nessie
Yeah.
like on Twitter all the
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Like Ogopogo has this weird fan slash rival mentality when it comes to Nessie, probably. Like you wouldn't,
Oh, and Nessie probably doesn't even regard
yeah,
them.
you wouldn't want to like have them both in the same room because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Nessie, as like graceful as she is and stuff at this point, she probably has a little bit of like uh self like inflated self worth and would not
Mm-hmm.
really recognize Ogopogo, even though they've probably like met a couple times before anyway. And Ogopogo has probably been
Nessie could
rubbed the wrong
also just
way.
be a little dramatic, just in general. Like, Nessie might be into drama more than most of the cryptids on this list, but, like, only by a little bit.
Uh, I can see that. I think I can see that.
Not like drama in terms of, like, we're gonna start a flame war or anything, but, like,
No, yeah,
classic Broadway actor
yeah,
drama.
yeah. I totally see that. Why? Whereas like Ogopogo is just more like the Netflix and chill type.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure. I think it really boils down to like the worst thing is they probably know each other to some regard, and if you're dating one, the other knows,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Yeah.
is going to be awkward if you run into the other, and it's going to be especially awkward if you show up to a party and like your friend is dating Ogopogo and you're dating Nessie, or vice versa, and you all run into each
Oh,
other at a
yeah.
party, and that's just going to be a whole mess.
If you do a double date, then that's already, like, you've got a movie script that is gonna be
Oh my
hilarious.
god, I love it. Oh,
That'd be
that
kind
would
of
be
funny.
really, man. We gotta write this one now.
We gotta write that one. That'd be a good one. I am looking at the list now, and I think that I would rather hang out with either of them before I'd hang out with the Jersey. No, Jersey Devil. I think would be higher on the list for me than them
Than them,
collectively.
like individually, they have their issues, but they'd be great on their own. But I think that they're both
Yeah.
such a like kind of toxic force together that
Mm-hmm.
they'd both yeah I just the
And they're not gonna just be out of each other's life too. It's gonna be inevitable that you run
exactly
into both of
simply
them in
the
the same room if you're
risk
dating
simply
one.
the risk of having to deal with the turmoil that could ensue from whatever from them like somehow just interacting between each other in some capacity. I think that definitely keeps them both pretty low on the list for me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely below Skunk Ape, higher than Bigfoot.
Below Skunk Ape, higher than Bigfoot. So yeah, like 6 and 7, or well, we don't have an 8 right now either, do we? So maybe 7 and 8 even.
No. Okay. I feel it. I would put Nessie at 7, but I'm open to argument.
I would put Nessie at 7 as well because being more aged and wizened, in spite of like the dramatic um the dramatic things that can incur, I think that Nessie has a more uh sound position to be arguing from, and I can back that up more than Ogopogo.
I like that. I like that. I'm in firm agreement. Not to shy away from the ocean, but I did have another one that I think would be an absolute all star on this list. Um, this dude's got a couple names. The first two I'm going to lead with because they're the more obscure ones. The Fjord Urali in Scandinavia, or the Dorba Chu in Iceland, which is also kind of technically Scandinavia, but not that nearby. But the name that this guy has is the Shore Laddie. Have you ever heard of this dude?
This sounds so familiar to me. Oh, yes, I went ahead and Googled, and I just see these images.
Oh yeah, he's like a ottery seal dude. Some people describe him as possumy. He's covered in barnacles. He walks on beaches. One article told me that he had a thing for pregnancy, and in some myths, like mpreg, which is very special.
That is incredibly special. So this is definitely like if you are a freak, and I know we are freaks, like
Yes.
this is
Strong
extremely a big hot ticket contender right here.
But he also feels like a stoner, so like he'd get into all this freaky shit and it wouldn't be awkward at all. Like I feel like you'd do it, you'd be like, that was amazing, and you'd just like feel so
Yeah, no,
liberated
like
after
this could
it.
be the like strangest new experience that you have ever been put in, but like there is no like they don't make you feel weird or bad about it at all. Because I mean,
Yeah, it's like an exploration, and it's like a good exploration. And even if you feel weird, he's like not gonna get offended at
yeah,
all.
he's not going to get offended, but I do think he might push a little harder than he has to try and get you to do it. But like if you're open,
That's a good
if you're
point.
open, then it's going to be fine. Um you would have to try and set up some bounds to some degree, but I don't think that he's going to push so hard that it gets to be too much.
Hmm.
Um
And I don't think he's gonna ever do like, if you're gonna hook up the first time, it's never gonna start vanilla. Like I feel like he's gonna be like, here's the things I like if you want to try it. So now you're like automatically know what you're gonna experience with
yeah,
this guy.
it's going to be a
You're not gonna get blindsided
going
by
to
it
be
at
a
all.
reverse like reveal of things. Like instead of like the first date and then like oh you go to dinner, you go to movies, and then like oh you start working your way up. It's going to start out as probably a 1 2 couple night stands and stuff. But like as you guys start like hanging out more together without just like going crazy with sex, or rather just hanging out before the crazy sex, the more that the like relationship blossoms, and then you move on to the like walking on the beach and stuff, which obviously he's gonna
Yeah.
like to do because I mean he obviously just loves the like lives near the water and all. So
Oh yeah. He probably, when I say hikes, I don't mean like we're in the middle of the woods, but he probably does like the straight up long walks in the ocean, and like is really into it instead of like just putting it on an online dating
mhm.
profile. Not just because that's his name and what he does and where he's
Now
spotted, but because he likes
Now, the
it.
problem is, for some people at least, the problem, you definitely would have to be into like Musk and maybe further than that as far as the smell centric kinks are concerned, because he definitely reeks.
Yeah, he's a fish
Yeah,
man. Like he smells like
absolute
fish.
fish man. I mean, literally, you said like barnacles growing on him, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
he's
I take for granted that this is something I could get into, but definitely not a lot of
right,
people.
and
This is a personal one I
but
like. But you have a good point. Like you have to set boundaries immediately and know that like there's certain parts of him that he's really into and he's never going to change. So if you're not comfortable with that, this is not the avenue you should follow.
yeah, and like it's really because like it's expected, at least within this community, that like you're gonna meet people that are into some wacky, wild things and stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like while it's relatively often that you meet people who are into just everything, um, it is not so often that you meet people who act on everything. And this
Yeah.
is a dude who 100% acts on like everything.
Yep. It's somebody. If you're gonna date this person, you have to start off boundaries immediately. Because I feel like he'd follow boundaries, but if you don't give him boundaries, he's gonna like put an egg in you like
Yeah,
day
day
one,
one.
and you're gonna have to deal
Yeah,
with
day
that.
one. You're getting like you're getting an egg in you and then probably eaten. So like,
Yeah. Although I do think he's a vegetarian from what I read because I think one article said that and I thought it was cute.
I'd like to believe that.
That being said, he will vor you.
I would absolutely love that. I would prefer it, especially being like if he's like a big stoner and stuff. It's just so much like a big plus for a stoner to also be a vegetarian because that's just like there's a vibe there, and I can totally get
Yeah.
behind it.
The one that I am trying to get involved in every day.
Hell yeah.
So I guess this is my ego speaking when I say I love this guy. Who else we were talking about earlier where it's like once you start off you're like, oh, we have to deal with a lot of shit, but then like if it pays off then it works. Oh my god, we were talking about somebody. Who is it?
I think
Probably
I was
Jersey
gonna say it's
Devil.
probably Jersey Devil because like there's the look.
Yeah.
Like Jersey Devil has it
Yeah.
all. But
This is like the reverse of it though. Like you don't have to deal with baggage, you have to deal with kink. But like once you have handled that, not to say that you have to like handle kinks if you're already into it. Like this is golden if you are, but like if you're not, then like once you can adapt to that situation, then it gets really mellow really quickly and it becomes a relationship that you can get really into. Kind of like with the Jersey Devils baggage that they're coming into the relationship with.
yeah,
In terms of like,
oh,
yeah.
most certainly.
This is like a long, like a slow burn relationship.
And I mean, being able to take it slow and like slow down is like a good thing. Not like there's plenty of folks who will disagree within this community who like just want to go fast and loose all the time. But like
Mm-hmm.
it's not a bad thing to be able to just go into things slowly. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
However, like so on the same almost same kind of spectrum, I feel in a way. Um, I don't know really if we can really rank this one particularly because it's a little like worrisome.
Yeah.
Not this one. This I'm about to mention one, and I feel like it might
Oh,
actually be
gotcha,
more
gotcha.
worrisome than this one. In that like
Hit me with it. I'm ready for it.
yeah, you know of kelpies?
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
I do. Those are the seahorses, but not the like actual
yeah.
animal.
Um,
Okay.
they're
Not they're like a horse of the
yeah,
sea.
and I'm just reminded of them through this current discussion, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what is that? Like, is that a thing? Cause like, but I mean, at the same time, I think that like their whole thing is basically just kidnapping. So I'm not sure really. I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
that we can actually even put it out there. I mean, I kind of wanted to posit it to see if you have any input to give there, but like
I have not written anything else, anything down on the Kelpie. That one, this is just going from memory in my
that's
head.
honestly that's it's probably for the better. I think that probably at like conventions or whatever, like most of the cryptids probably stay away from Kelpie because like
Yeah, they're in the hotel room, and people are gonna come up to them if they know they want to.
yeah,
That's the vibe
yeah,
I'm
they're
getting.
like they're on the same level to me, I think, as like mermaids and like sirens and stuff. It's like the best sex you'll ever
Mm-hmm.
have, probably, but it's the last sex you'll ever have.
You will get
You
eaten,
are,
and some people are into that, but less than half.
yeah, no, I am not about like dying when I get down. So that wouldn't be
Yeah,
me. It might be for someone. So for the vor enthusiast, I would say maybe give a look to like those creatures of the sea that lead strapping young man astray and into the depths.
I guess like to a degree, Kraken would fit that category, but definitely for the tentacle fans and then also the vor fans, it will not be separate.
I agree, but I almost want to not even call Kraken a cryptid, since we have giant squid and stuff.
That's one of those coelacanth situations where it turned out to be
real. Exactly. I don't think that and also I don't think that the Kraken has the same capacity, the same sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Cognizance and consciousness as the others.
That might just be a full ass octopus.
Yeah.
Or just that level. I guess. Yeah, that makes sense to me what you're saying.
Yeah, and well, octopi and stuff are hella smart. I mean, I'm not gonna, kind of try to date one.
Kraken has less intelligence than an octopus.
Kraken definitely. Well, I know that squids are not as intelligent as octopus or octopi. Octopodes actually would be the proper pronunciation.
I've learned something today.
Yeah, because it's Greek, I believe, or something, and the pluralization in Greek is not octopi; it would be octopodes.
Okay.
That's
fun. Yeah. I like it. Octopodes. Yeah.
That would make a great post-metal band name.
I would listen to it, and I would probably try to be in that band.
Oh, that's a good one.
Who started Octopi then? What coward just fired?
I have no idea, who, but they just decided that it sounded better as pi than Odes, and I'm like, that's wrong, but
It's pi is very much so a hassle to think about and say.
Wait, would that mean? I don't know if it's across the board for everything that is pluralized with I, but would that be cactopodes?
Cactides does not sound. That's the smart. I was just about to say cactides, which would not be it. It would
cactopodes. I don't know. I actually don't know.
Cactopodes. To go back to sirens and kelpies and stuff, I'd be comfortable giving them the honorable mention. Probably wouldn't put them on the list.
Only an honorable mention for those particular enthusiasts. I don't.
Yeah, because it's it wouldn't be for me, but I wouldn't judge anybody if it were for them.
Yeah, I can agree there. I can certainly agree.
That being said, should Shore Laddie get an honorable mention, or should we put him on the list?
Honestly, I think that's a great. I think that he can be on the list.
Okay, I was gonna agree because I really like him, but there is a bias in my opinion because I really like him.
No, I mean, half of this has been just us going back and forth and arguing our points for our faves. So I think that it's entirely valid to concede the point and put them on the list if it's been well argued. And I definitely agree with this, because, I mean, I'm freaky. I like freaky. And, some smells you'll just never forget.
Oh, yeah. I could get fishy with it. Fish is good.
For sure.
People like fishy.
So, what spots do we have open on the list anyway?
We've got 3 and 5/6 open because Skunk Ape is hovering between 5 and 6.
3 and 5 and 6. Oh man, this is a tough one.
Probably wouldn't give him 3.
No, Skunk Ape would definitely not go to 3, and
I'd give him 5, right below Jersey Devil.
Skunk Ape, yeah, he can. I would totally give him 5.
Cool, and then Shore Laddie could be 6.
6 is fair. Yeah, I would say 6.
Unless you like Nessie better, which I can agree with. If you agree with it.
Man.
This is
It
splitting
is.
hairs. Despite the fact that only one of the members has hair.
I feel like Nessie is still 7
Okay,
because like
I'm here for it.
there's like Nessie and Ogopogo are so adjacent to each other that they could almost be ranked on the same level. But Nessie does have just a couple more redeeming qualities to her
Yep.
that she gets just a little bit of that leg up. Not that she has legs, but
Yeah, I get the pontification. All we need is a 3, but 3. We have to find somebody who's better than the Jersey Devil in terms of dateability, but not quite werewolf level.
that is
Who could
that
that
is
be?
like one of the most difficult man. That's such a difficult one to try and pinpoint.
Yeah.
I want to just I want to throw it out there, and
I'm ready for it,
it's
I'm ready
not
for it.
even I kind of think it's better as just an honorable mention, probably, now that I think more of it. But Spring-Heeled Jack is quite a gentleman.
Okay. He is. I see it, but I would want to rearrange it to make Jersey Devil higher than him.
100% agree. Because,
Cool.
like, my problem there is, again, it's just kind of a dude. Like, it's super humanoid. Like, not humanoid, but basically just a human. But I think that, like, one of my favorite things, though, about Spring-Heeled Jack is that he's kind of a personification of the anxieties in, like, London and stuff during the time of industrialization. And that is
I do like
that is, like,
energy.
so cool. Yeah, that's, like, amazing energy. Oh, but at the same time, that basically means he's a Luddite, and I don't really jive with people who are, like, scared of technology just because it's, like, an advancement of technology, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it is a total jive.
Especially if it's like got the British angle to it. And if I ever disparage the English, I do want my audience to know. I don't know if you'd get this, Icky, because I don't think you've met my old roommate. But if I ever disparage the English, it is because of my old roommate Rebecca, an English person, who I will make fun of for the rest of my days.
That's entirely fine. That's fair, because I'm pretty sure that most of the English, most English folks that I know are like, damn, I'm English. This sucks.
The ones that I've met so far have been in that. They've had that coming of age where they come to terms with the fact that they're English, and then see where they go from there.
So,
that being said, I don't think Spring Hill Jack should not get any points for being English, because that's not a bad thing.
That's fair. But also, for being just a guy, I think that he should only get an honorable mention. But I think that he is definitely important enough and cool enough that he deserves a mention and deserves a spot as an honorable mention.
I can heartily agree with that. He's cool as fuck, and I love him.
I would probably chill with him. I'd probably also get incredibly tired when he goes on and on and on about, like, how awful society has become since the invention of the printing press. It's like, dude, calm down.
I also feel like you would get pranked and it would not be ironic. Like, you would just straight up have to deal with somebody pranking you. Like, a whoopee cushion will appear, and it's just, this is non-ironic. This is in my life now.
Mm-hmm. Most certainly.
But that could be fun.
That could be fun, but then again, I feel like that goes right back around to, like, Frogman, to where it can start to get real old real quick.
Yep. Yep. And then, can you bring your friends to your house? Maybe not. Board game night would be annoying.
Yeah, like imagine like I think that he'd be good friends with like Bigfoot, but
Oh
only
yeah. Oh my god.
mostly
Yeah.
because he makes Bigfoot look good.
Oh, and then Bigfoot knows, and he's using
Yeah,
it.
like
Yeah.
cuz like Bigfoot's all about his image. So like yeah, I he's
I
a
see
guy that
that.
I could hang out.
But like, it's not gonna take him off of honorable mention. Like, I'd still hang out
Yeah,
with
no,
him.
I could hang out with him, but I wouldn't want it to be at my house. And I'd
You want to hang out with him at a
yeah.
party because he definitely
Oh,
parties.
easily. I definitely prefer it to be probably at a party and maybe like just at a bar or something because I think he's a little bit more uh conscious of his actions probably in public and you're less
Yeah,
likely to have an unsavory experience.
I can see that. I can see that. And then that'd be you'd have a fun public outing. Like, it wouldn't just be walking on eggshells. Like, it would actually be a fun experience.
Mhm.
I like him. I'm looking at my list, and I did find one that could be a possible third place contender, but I'm not gonna jump right into it without your opinion. This guy's from Brazil, and it's the Mapinguari. It is a large bear-like body, but with a sloth face, and it's like really tall. He's maybe around 8 feet when people have described him. He also has a second mouth on his stomach, and he's also very stinky. But he's also very elusive. Like, he's not going to attack anybody. He will run away first.
Okay. Um that's an interesting one.
It's
It
an interesting one. I don't think it's 3, but I don't
I
dislike him.
don't dislike him. But like the Cyclops thing is a little off-putting.
I think, well, I mean, he has a regular head. He just has a mouth on his stomach.
Okay, it's just that's a strange place for a mouth, isn't it?
Yeah. He has 2 mouths. I should have said that.
That is just
We have,
real bizarre.
it gets weirder the more I talk about it.
Yeah, that's so weird. But like, I mean, then again, there's so many folks who just like have their weird personas and stuff too, with like
Mm-hmm.
tail maws and like mouths on the stomach. So I'm not gonna knock it for sure. I mean, Lord
Yeah.
knows I've like drawn like characters with their like mouths on stomachs and stuff like that. I'm just like not sure how I could vibe with this guy though.
Yeah. Plus, he's like very elusive and doesn't hang around people. So all that you know is we got an introverted energy. But that's like, who's to say? Like, once you get to know them, what they'll be like. Like, I don't think that has been pinned down by anybody. So you're kind of just like dealing with 2 mouths and then any emotion really. Like, you can't predict it.
I mean, yeah, like and being that he's so like elusive and scared kind of folks, um like maybe there's a reason, like maybe I don't know, he might have done something.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't want to really like project any sort of negativity onto him, like that's like any unfounded negativity, but at the same time, like why why be so scared all the time of like anyone, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
And even if he didn't do anything, there's like, he could just be projecting negativity onto himself. And while like, I don't know, that's a hard thing to parse out, but it's an even harder thing to just date somebody who's not gonna like process their trauma and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
to be lovable, you first have to love yourself. And
Yeah, and I don't think Mapinguari loves himself.
that is Yeah, I think that's a good observation. I don't know personally even if I would give an honorable mention. I don't know them, and
Yeah, I feel
they're a
that.
little they're worrisome to me. And maybe I'm worried for
We're
them,
just going off
but
of looks
also a
alone,
little worried
too.
about them.
Yeah, I can see. I feel it. I feel it. Definitely not third on the list.
No, definitely not. Um okay. So like here's a really kind of an out there one, I suppose, but like there
Mm-hmm.
have been the sightings and everything. Um and they are totally within like the realm. Uh Gnomes.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I like that
Yeah?
one. They're
Yeah.
fun. They love having fun, and they're goofy. But I just really like goofy people. I try to project that into life as like a
To
fun
me,
thing.
they're kind of like they're the same like energy that goblins got, but a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more um lighthearted.
Yeah. Definitely cottagecore
Oh,
vibes as
oh
opposed to
yeah.
goblins, and
Like
that's cool. I
yeah,
like
and
that.
that's the thing, like goblins, you're gonna like goblins if you're into like metal and shit, obviously. Like I mean
Mm-hmm.
Necrogoblicon, like their whole thing is like they're fronted by a goblin and like he's cool. He's a great guy and stuff. But like I don't think he'd enjoy just living in that little cottage with like a gnome or something. And like no, and
Yeah.
gnomes,
He'd have to tour. He wouldn't feel at peace
yeah,
at
and
home.
gnomes just on the other side, they would hate the whole just everything that goblins really are about, even though they have so many similarities. And honestly, that's probably why, because they're so similar and they're like, hey, you guys are basically just us, but like green. And
Mm-hmm.
like and here's the real problematic thing though now that I think about it is the fact that I think that gnomes are probably racist cuz
Yeah, that's
like
that. I'm getting that
yeah,
vibe
while
too now.
goblins like probably aren't fans of gnomes, it's probably greatly due to gnomes gentrifying what used to be goblin spaces and
Oh
just
yeah,
being generally uh ill-willed toward
puts the
goblins.
not to mention that it puts the cottage core into perspective. Now you're trying to just like show
Yeah,
off that kind of lifestyle in order to like we're not goblins. Here we are, sophisticated and cool and
yeah,
whimsical, and that feels like a projection as opposed to like they're actually doing it because they
yeah,
like it.
exactly. Like you got
Hmm.
like because like gnomes will like be in their little fucking like mushroom hut and stuff, like all smoking pipes together and joking and stuff, and they'll be talking about like, oh, you know, um, my my cabin. I have a cottage. I have a cottage out in the countryside. It fucking sucks. It's so far away from everything. And meanwhile, the goblins are like, yeah, your fucking cottage like cleared the land where my dad's fucking hovel hole was. So thanks a lot for
Hmm.
like destroying where I once lived, basically. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to stop thinking about that if I were like dating a
yeah,
gnome.
it would be really difficult. Like, and I don't think that they have reached the like consciousness yet to really be able to contend with what they've been doing to goblins all this time. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't. Yeah, just like I thought, I think of gnomes once, and I go, oh, that could be something, and then this comes like it immediately it becomes obvious how much of a problem there actually is there. So I don't think actually now that we've kind of fleshed that out a little bit more. Uh,
We're not gonna be into the racist of the gnomes.
no,
So
no, that
yeah, we
just
can.
can't do that.
Yeah, I am looking at the list again. I think I brought it up vaguely once, but I do kind of want to circle back to the Goat Man.
Oh yes.
Goatman's cool. Goatman definitely has the metal energy, I feel like.
Oh, extremely so.
But less hardcore than the goblin energy. Or the goblin metal energy, I
Yeah,
think.
no, goblins are totally like they're like a Scandinavian folklore, so they're probably into black metal and everything. While Goatman is probably
Yeah.
more just like he likes power metal for sure.
Yeah, like we're just dealing with Iron Maiden, and I can vibe with that.
That's
Not
solid.
that I can't vibe with like other forms of metal. I feel like I'm like as the everyman can vibe with
Yeah,
that.
like everyone like Iron Maiden and stuff like that is definitely like it's just like radio dadcore stuff now pretty much. So like by today's standards at least. So like you can easily jive with like, you know, when Goatman turns on the radio and puts it on like Octane on Sirius FM and it's like, okay, yeah, it's got a lot of like butt rock and 2000s metal and stuff, but you know, like it's like
Yeah.
whatever. Like
I do think Goatman would be the type of person to actually just like get in a fight with somebody, like full fist
oh,
fight.
easily. I mean, like if your whole thing is like kind of pretending to be a dude who fits in and someone calls you out on not fitting in, you're probably going to like rip the tap out t-shirt right off and throw
Oh yeah.
the like Monster Energy cap to the ground and be like, "Let's go down right now, buddy." And Goatman definitely has that energy, but I don't think he's like super chain wallety either. Like,
Yeah, he's also not gonna start a fight. He's not the type of dude to start a fight.
you don't
He'll
think? Yeah,
finish
he'll
one.
finish one, but you don't think so that he'll start the fight? No, no, you know what? You're
Um,
right, because he has to try and stay on the DL anyway.
yeah, because he might have killed somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to really be getting aggro when you are the one who's getting fingers pointed at. So like, yeah.
Yep.
Um, my one worry is that if he does really have kind of that tap out shirt monster energy type energy about him, and like
Mm-hmm.
if he really loves like all that just like kind of like old metal and like new metal and like just butt rock and stuff, kind of worried he might be like hardcore like cop stan or something.
Oh, yeah, I can feel that
Yeah.
energy.
Which is like really ironic for a dude whose whole thing is like getting into groups and just kind of like pretending
He
like he belongs until he starts like picking them off one by one.
if he doesn't like cops, he has a Punisher sticker on his
Yeah,
truck.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, I might be projecting, but it's kind of the vibe I get from that.
Yeah. Not in like the if you like the Punisher, that's the whole vibe forever and ever. But there's that sort of
Totally.
culture of like lawlessness while still respecting the law. Very paradoxical and very like problematic, and especially in this case.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that would definitely just turn around to bite him in the ass in the end too. Eventually.
Yeah.
I can see him chilling with Skunk Ape, being
Yeah, I can feel that.
yeah,
They
they
hang
can be
out.
like hella bros. Honestly, I see them absolutely hanging out, but I do think that like they're on entirely different sides of the spectrum when it comes to like the
Mm-hmm.
police and stuff.
They probably never bring up
They definitely
politics.
never bring up politics because like Skunk Ape is 100% like mostly ambivalent, but more of like a kind of libertarian type, I think, where he'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, he really doesn't care one way or the other how anyone identifies or what they do or whatever, as long as they just don't try to fuck his shit, then he's fine. Whereas, like, I do think that Goatman probably is a little bit more on the conservative, uh, not greatly socially uh, liberating type.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after
Yeah.
all, he does tend to insert himself into groups of younger folks, sometimes teens, I guess. Again, pretty problematic. And like
Yeah.
pick
Oh
them
my
off,
gosh.
and
Yeah.
you know, younger folks, teens, and young adults always tend to lean far more socially liberal, and so his whole tactic with that is probably trying to thin the pool of like, you know, the marketplace of ideas.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna debate some people in college, despite not being that age group
Yeah. Oh,
anymore.
100%.
Yeah.
Ah,
The other thing I did want to bring up about him is that his alias is the Poplick Monster.
that is, yeah.
Uh, that's just a fun nickname, but that's not gonna be a make or break situation.
I wonder how he feels about that, if he likes it or not.
I don't know. I feel like if you like being called the Poplick Monster, and this is I'm gonna make fun of myself here, but you really enjoyed the movie Cats that came out in 2020. Because I would like both of those things, and there is no reason for it.
You liked Cats? That's our
Oh
number
yes.
3 on the list. Cats the movie
Just
2020.
any of the cats. Number 3 is Dame Judi Dench. Thank you. The end of the episode is here. You all made it.
uh,
Uh,
I have not seen that movie. I've
I may have seen it 3
Oh,
times at this
good
point.
lord.
It's so. I don't know why I like it as much as I do. It isn't a good movie,
It
and I
looks like such a
recognize that.
nightmare.
However, it makes me feel absolutely feral anytime I watch it. And then, like, some people are doing a really good job in it. Like, Jason Derulo kills it in that movie for reasons that I feel like this is his first actual movie. Like, he's a musician, and now he's doing a movie. And then I did like Taylor Swift in it, but though she like appeared 3/4 of the way into the movie, sang one song, and then wasn't seen again. So that was funny to me.
I mean, well, because I really fucking love the most recent adaptation of Les Mis. I think it's
I did like that
I
one.
think it's spectacular, but
Like,
every other thespian I know abhors it, and I'm like,
I would rather see a stage production, but I don't dislike the Les
I
Mis
think it's
movie.
spectacular. Like, it's a really
Oh
good,
yeah,
and
it's good.
everyone like just says like the same. They have the same criticisms half of the time and stuff, and it's just like because they don't like how Javert is played, and it's like okay, it's still like faithful though, right? Like it still feels pretty faithful. To be
Mm-hmm.
fair, I haven't actually
And that's
seen
like
the
one
stage
character
production
out of
yet, but
20. I haven't seen like the OG Broadway one, but I've watched productions just in general at theaters that do them because it's always gonna like if you're in a major city, someone's gonna be doing Les Mis that year, if not 5 people all at
hmm
once.
I mean,
So it's very easy to find it.
what do you think?
Yeah,
What do you think Nessie's favorite production is?
um, not that this is the greatest word to use, but it is the name of the musical, and it is Gypsy.
Oh man. Oh, that sounds
Like,
incredibly fitting, actually.
yeah, That's like if you're a starlet in your 50s, you're gonna probably play Mama Rose at some point.
That's that is so perfect, actually.
That's the one.
I think Nessie though is probably the only one on our list that would appreciate theater. So
Yeah, oh my gosh. Checking it again, and that is a strong agree. Nobody on this list is a theater person. Mothman might get into plays, but not musicals.
yeah, like
But not like deep theater. Like Mothman probably was like, I enjoy Shakespeare.
yeah. I mean, because like while Mothman is totally worldly, he definitely has his tastes, and his tastes are not in musicals. And like you
Yep.
just try to introduce him to something every once in a while. Like you put on like um I don't know, Prince of Egypt, and he really enjoys it, but he is not going to tell you that
Yeah.
because I don't I
I
don't
can
believe
agree with
there's a
that.
soul on this earth that cannot enjoy that movie.
I don't think I've seen it to this day, and I regret that immensely because I only hear good things.
It's literally like one of the best things that has happened ever cinematically for like
That's gonna happen immediately. No, I'm gonna watch
I
it.
you definitely should. It is such a spectacular movie. I will watch it with you.
I'm here for it. I'll do that. Is it on
Oh,
something
I
right
don't
now?
know. Probably on Netflix or something.
I have a VPN now. One country
Oh,
has to
yeah,
have it.
definitely.
It's always funny because like when I watch something with my boyfriend who's like in Germany, it's always funny to me that like none of the movies are the same on either of our Netflixes unless it's an
Oh, right.
original.
Of course.
Very wildly different. If you get a VPN, you're paying for an entirely new streaming service
Yeah,
at this point.
basically. But I mean, it's a great way to try and find what you're looking for.
Yep.
I'm still totally,
Can't find three.
totally stopped up on like what could be number three?
We could move Jersey Devil up to three and then just keep moving up until we find a different gap, is the thing, too. Going through Goatman, I don't think I want to put him on
Oh
top
God,
10.
no.
Yeah, no. Like, not. There's
No,
no way.
no. Goatman, there's not a chance for him. Like, that's not even.
Yeah.
Well,
That would get very annoying and problematic very quickly. I don't disagree with Chupacabra being an honorable mention, but damn if I would put him on there if he were single or a swinger, and it's all hinging on that, which is the sad thing because I really like him.
yeah, and like Chupacabra, I, I don't know. Maybe we can make an exception in that Chupacabra
The
could be. I think that number three could be fitting for him, kind of.
number three could be the idea of
The idea
Chupacabra.
of Chupacabra, if if he's single,
The idea of a single Chupacabra.
I think I can agree with that one because like while Chupacabra is probably taken at this point,
Mm-hmm. And I
and
agree with
it's
that
definitely
fully.
going well because it's been a long time since we've seen any sort of Chupacabra activity. I do think that if something were to happen and Chupacabra got back into his like old habits and stuff, if you were
Mm-hmm.
lucky enough to be the one to swoop in and be that safety net for him and be able to like help him recoup from that and recover, I think that you could.
Especially after all the strides he's made, even like prior to that relationship. Like,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that you could have a pretty good thing going. And I mean, hey, like who
yeah,
knows? Maybe it isn't that he's in a relationship. Maybe he just like got some therapy and like finally, like, I'm guessing, like, probably, like, maybe Bigfoot or someone approached him and was like, dude, I love you, but, like, you're getting a little too wild, man. Like, you gotta slow down. We're worried for you. And maybe finally they were able to get through to him, and he, like, maybe went to rehab or something. And he's just totally changed, like a different person, and is better off
Oh
for
yeah,
it. That could be the case too. So
you'd be in a remarkable relationship with
yeah,
him.
like as as much as like past demons can like come up and haunt someone like post rehab and stuff, it's a beautiful relationship to be able to be there for someone who needs that sort of support. And I think that with Chupacabra, that could be just wonderful for the type of person who has the energy to be someone's rock and be the support that someone post recovery needs.
Oh, definitely. And like, yeah, he would definitely. It wouldn't even be like, here I am as your rock, like you're relying on me now. Like the relationship would be reciprocated. Like he wouldn't see you as the only thing keeping going. Like he's at a point in his life where he would see dating you as like, here's a person I love. I'm in a relationship with this person.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, this is giving my life meaning, but he's like, I'm learning that like a relationship is a really good thing.
Absolutely. Like, it isn't just like what's keeping him going. It is that he has seen that there's far more to life anyway, and it has changed him for the better. He's become a better person for it.
Yep, and he'll care about you.
This is a great redemption arc for Chupacabra that we have built after like our initial assumptions, and I really appreciate it.
I'm really happy with how far he's come, and I'm really happy how high he is on the list because I think he deserves it.
I think that 3 is a spectacular spot for him.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the rundown? Because I'm looking at it right now, and if I didn't write this down, it would not be.
Oh yeah, I didn't write it down, and I'm struggling, but like I am 100% ready for this, and I'm gonna, yeah.
If I put music in the background, it'll make the bit work, but if I don't, it'll work nonetheless. Hey there, all of you singles out there, thinking that the dating pool on Tinder is too dry, not having a great time on Grindr lately, that's okay. There are eligible, hot, cryptid bachelors out there, and here are the ones that'll do you best. However, let's get through some honorable mentions real quick. Into cryptids that actually look like people because you're not a furry, you're listening to the wrong podcast. However, you can date Spring Heel Jack, absolute bachelor. Into vor and then having sex once and then not being alive anymore, definitely you can date kelpies, sirens, or mermaids. It'll be great for roughly a day. I don't remember why we don't like goblins.
Personally for me,
Can we take Loveland frogs off the list?
you want to replace the Loveland frogs with goblins?
Yeah.
I think I can jive with that because
You can tell me no.
I mean, I love black metal, and I know goblins are so into that.
Black metal's
so
good.
like, I think honestly, I gotta be honest. One of the reasons that I really just don't jive with goblins is because I've been playing a lot of Valheim, and they are just the fucking worst thing in that game. So like, I think I'm holding some prejudices there from like this really probably rude and inaccurate portrayal of them in a video game.
Let me ask you this: are the gnomes the good guys in Valheim?
There are no gnomes that I have come across. There's a dwarf trader, but I have not.
Like trader with a D or with a second T?
Oh no, with a D.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Honestly, though, I'll vibe with that hardcore because, like, the goblins, I can get past like looks and stuff. With the
Oh
little
yeah,
frog, I cannot do that. It's just a big
because you have to
frog
get
dude.
past looks and
And
personality.
then yeah, there's the personality. There's the whole like, oh, by the way, I'm a comedian magician and it's all I am. And it's like, great. So like what do I do with you?
Yeah, you come to see my show. I'm gonna be self-deprecating if I continue on the Love Line vlogs. But no, yeah. As knowing people of my craft, I would not date a Loveland Frog. I wouldn't date an actor.
Mm.
It would be annoying because we're
Oh
annoying.
gosh, I've known so many other like actors and stuff who like their relationships just fall right through because of the fact that they're both actors and stuff.
And not to mention we wouldn't like get income, but we'd also be annoying.
Yeah, from
Me and a hypothetical actor significant other.
absolutely. Okay, well, I agree. Goblins, get rid of them frogs.
Cool. Get out of the frog. Get out of here, frogs.
Do they even deserve an
we have-
honorable mention now?
No.
Yeah, they I don't know how
Dishonorable
they just kind of
mention.
ended up on the list somehow, and like and we realize now looking down the list like that's not right. They just
Our standards are higher. We met some lovely people on this list. Our standards got way higher than where it
that
went
is
on.
very true.
However, we got to give credit to where credit's due. Are you into things that aren't cryptids, but potentially, if you wish hard enough, real and also an app on your phone and also a skull dog? Say hello to Malo, also known as SCP, 3 numbers. I don't remember them. Into cuckolding? Honorable mention Chupacabra, but who's in a relationship. That's the extent of that joke. And now here it is. Top 10 most hottest eligible cryptid bachelors. Are you ready?
Oh yes, I am.
Number 10, goblins. Number 9, Bigfoot. Number 8, Ogopogo. Number 7, Nessie. Number 6, the Shore Laddie. Number 5, the Skunk Ape. Number 3, the Jersey Devil. And now for the top 3, the hottest eligible cryptid bachelors. But not only the hottest on the outside, but the hottest in their soul. Number 3, the concept of a single chupacabra who isn't in a relationship. Number 2, any dogman, but they're probably a werewolf. And number 1, the hottest eligible cryptid bachelor, Mothman. We did it.
Oh, this is real good. This is real good.
This is a
This
good
is a
list.
great fucking list. This is a banger right here. Oh man,
You did God's work.
this is spectacular.
This is a good list. This is just the best
Ah.
list. I feel like we're going to make the podcast episode, but I feel like I need to put it everywhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this is spectacular. I think this is the most concise and like well thought out list that anyone could have possibly made.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially at 4 in the
Yeah,
morning.
especially at 4 in the morning.
For me. This is just really good. I really like this list. You did a fantastic
Thank
job.
you. Well, so did you. It's been so fun.
Thank you very much also.
Yeah, I've been absolutely loving this. I would love to come along on one of these journeys once again anytime.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, you're totally invited to like any podcast. I think so this is like the first episode that's not the normal formula because I'm trying to do 2 a month. One of them is me doing a bunch of research. I'm probably going to like talk about this in the intro that's getting recorded way after us recording right now. But in the intro it's going to be like, "Oh my gosh, so I'm going to try to do 2 episodes a month. One of them will be like drunk history, but I'm throwing a story at you. And the second one will be like a table talk. We're going to do goofy things like this. I will come up with an idea for it later. But for either of those, you're like totally welcome. You've been a phenomenal guest in like every single way, and I've totally appreciated
Hell
being
yeah,
here.
I've had such a killer time, dude. This is excellent.
This is so good.
Absolutely loving this.
If you have a preference for drunk history nonsense or random list making like this, totally let me know.
I mean, both sound amazing and fun, because I could use some refreshers on my sober history, I guess.
I gotcha. I like had one cocktail earlier because of low-key trying to get into cocktail making, but boy howdy, I'm actually kind of really sober right now for all of that we've done.
Yeah, I so would have liked to drink, but it's a good thing that I didn't, since I had to drive Katie.
Oh yeah, you had to drive. Oh my gosh, that would have been. Oh my gosh, I'm glad that it worked out the way it did, because I would.
I would have probably only had like one beer by the time that happened, and that wouldn't do anything to me here at basically sea level.
That makes sense.
Shoot. All right.
Yeah, you're on. You can come on anytime.
Hell
This
yeah.
is fun.
Hell yeah.
That being said, now that I guess we're like coming to the close, is there any final parting thoughts you have, or anything you'd like to plug at all, or any like thing you want people in the world to know that you know, and then now they know?
I don't know. I'm Icky. You can follow me at ICVRXS on Twitter. You can commission me to get your persona dating one of these hot bachelors.
Oh yeah, preferably Mothman, because we have decided he's the
Oh
best.
yeah, absolutely. If you know what, if you mention this podcast or whatever, you'll get a discount on the idea and the whole thing.
Yay! I'm glad to. We did it. We did a joint project.
We did it, Reddit.
This podcast single-handedly turned Evergiven one way, so now I can say.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was kind of looking forward to seeing how much longer it could go, but you know, it's fine.
I think I got stuck again, but I might have read a parody tweet and not an actual factual tweet, and I did not.
Yeah, I saw the same thing, so I'm not certain.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah. Icky's art is great. They did my ref sheet for Force City, actually, and it's beautiful and remarkable in every single way. And probably showing up somewhere on wherever you're listening to this podcast.
And someday I may just have to redo it, since it's an old ref sheet, and I would love to go over it with a newer, more refined style.
Oh heck, I would commission you for that in like a heartbeat. Like multiple heartbeats once I get my signature.
Well, we'll see if
which is really
we'll see if it has to be a commission. We'll see. I'm not promising anything. I can't make promises because I'm really bad at following through on like art promises that aren't monetary.
Okay.
But
I'm here as you need me to be here for whatever you see fit, and appreciate all that you do.
Absolutely, yeah. And I would love to continue helping the support of this podcast growing, because this is absolutely killer. Hella good time. Wow.
Oh, cool. We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Thank you for joining us on the very first New Moon episode of Foxxo Esoterica. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that if you are a single listener, you have a few ideas as to where you can go if we're in the dating pool. Or if you've single friends who are looking for somebody. We've got you. This is Force Eddie Fox. You can find me here on wherever you're finding podcasts, or you can find me on Twitter at FORSETIFOX. My special guest Icky Baku can also be found on Twitter, and I think they mentioned it, but you can find them at ICVRXS. They're a stellar artist, and I would definitely recommend commissioning them. The artwork for the podcast is done by at SunElChiquito, SUN_EL_CHIKITO. He does a wonderful job also. And all editing, music, research, and me talking is done by me. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a very wonderful rest of your evening.